You know, if I had $1 for every time someone asked me how I make my living and how it is that I can afford to have all that I have without working a full-time job, well, I'd have so many dollars, I'd never have concerns about making a living ever again. As people come to my channel and they see me in the here and now, here I am in my mid-50s, and they see all that I've accumulated over the years. I have my homestead, my 2 nice cabins, my tractor, and a few toys. And most folks jump to the same handful of conclusions, the first being that I must make an awful lot of money. If you know how I could make an awful lot of money without going to work every day, by all means, please speak up, because I'd love to know. I don't know how to do that, and I love money just as much as anyone. So if you know how I can do that, please speak up. The second one being that somewhere along the line, I made a whole bunch of money, and then I went out and I bought up all this acreage that I have. The third, which usually ticks me off, is that I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and everything that I have was given to me. Just recently, somebody posted on my channel that it's very easy to have all this with inherited properties and inherited bank accounts and so on and so forth. Someone just posted the other day, called me a squatter, and told me to pay my taxes like the rest of them. One guy last year, Walter from Maine, who was dogging my channel for a while, he said that, I know you got a big fat pension coming from somewhere. I know you do. I dare you to prove me wrong. I dare you. I quit playing Truth or Dare when I was maybe 12, so I don't have to prove myself to anyone. I'm posting this video to help the like-minded people that want to live this type of lifestyle. They're always asking me how I make my living. So I'm posting this video to help those that just might benefit from it. But there's always those people that will criticize anyone that has made better financial decisions than they did. The fourth conclusion is that I must be doing something shady, like growing marijuana on my farm, or I've got a meth lab out here in the woods, or that I won it all in a lottery. Well, I can assure you folks that all of those are just ridiculous assumptions that couldn't be further from the truth. Now, I could simply tell you what I do to earn money, but making a living is so much more involved than just making an income. A guy can have $1 million a year income, but if he has $1 million a year in expenses, it's like shoveling against the tide, man. Like trying to fill up the tub with the stopper out of the bottom. In and out, in and out, in and out. You never get ahead. Now that's fine for some people that want to live that lifestyle, but the people that watch my videos and channels like mine don't want to live that lifestyle. They want to get away from the rat race. So by me just simply telling you how I earn my income won't help you much, because I live on a very, very low income, and I'm able to do that because I'm living on a very, very low cost of living. So just telling you what I do for an income won't help you without knowing the story behind it. So get yourself a beverage. I'll tell you my story. Hi guys. I know you're hungry boogers this morning. There you go. Bon appetit. So what do I do to earn an income? Well, I don't have a job, and hopefully I will never ever have to go back to the 40-hour grind ever again. I've been able to scratch out my living in many different ways. I don't have all my eggs in one basket. I have money coming from several different sources. Neither one of them on their own makes me a living. It's just a combination of things that supports my lifestyle, and it keeps it interesting for me. When I used to go to work every day, do the same thing day after day, life wasn't very interesting for me. I had all my eggs in one basket. If I lost that job, I was shit out of luck. The way that I'm doing it now works really good for me, but it's not for everyone. Some people like to have that security of the 40-hour week and all the benefits that are associated with that. Myself, I kind of more fly by the seat of my pants sort of thing. So what do I do to earn an income? Well, a lot of you know that I used to be an artist. When I was younger, I always dreamed about being a professional artist. I climbed that ladder until I got to where I always wanted to be. Did a lot of soul searching and walked away from it. I still sell my art, but I no longer draw anymore. My old website still works. People find it. I'm shipping art every week. A lot of you know that I co-own a spice business. My girlfriend and I started our own line of all natural seasonings and spices and meat rubs, that sort of thing. We've been doing it, I don't know, around 8 years or so now, I guess. It could be $1 million business if we wanted to. We get approached all the time by folks that want to wholesale our product, get us in all the chain stores. We don't want to be that busy. I was that busy with my art. I don't want to be that busy, neither does her. We keep it small. In fact, we've downsized considerably. We do 7 or 8 shows a year, but we ship continuously. We get out of it what we put into it. I do some nuisance wildlife removal. I live in farm country. Farmers have an awful lot of problems with wildlife, so do a lot of homeowners. I utilize the fur. A lot of people don't like people wearing fur. They're against it, but they don't look at the big picture. All wildlife species need to be controlled. Why throw the fur in a dumpster? So I sell the fur. Does that make me a living? No. It just contributes to my livelihood. Occasionally I'll cut up a deer for someone, make a few dollars there. I sell a little bit of cordwood off my land. I make a few dollars there. Hey, chickadee. None of those make me a living. They probably could if I wanted to do it all the time. I don't want to. I want to keep life interesting. When I had my sawmill, I used to sell lumber. Not on a big scale. Very few boards. I did mostly specialty items. Those big, thick pine slabs that people use for bar tops. And a lot of timbers that I sold to log home builders. Like the timbers in my homestead. All the timber work, the timbers in the ceiling. That's all stuff that I milled from my own property. What else do I do? The YouTube thing. I make a few bucks on YouTube. Does it make me a living? No. It probably could eventually. But like I say, I just do a mishmash of different things. I wrote a few things down in case I forget any. Oh, let's see. Every now and then I sell stuff on eBay. I find something on the side of the road or a yard sale or get a really good deal on something. And I just put it on eBay. It's not hard to do. I make a few bucks. It doesn't make me a living, but again, you know the story. My farmer's market, when we do a little garden now, but my girlfriend and I used to do a huge garden, big scale gardening, and we would go to the farmer's markets. We would sell our spices and our vegetables and the eggs from our chickens. Didn't make us a living on its own, but all of these things were pieces of the pie. That's a few of these things, an example. And I can bounce around, like if we get sick of doing shows, I don't have to do shows. I'll go off and cut more firewood if I want to. It's just, the key to it is I'm working, and I've always been working in the direction of what I want. It's like building a snowball. This has been a snowball effect all my life. I've always been working in the direction of what I want. Always making everything worked for me, which I will explain a little bit further in the video. But it's like pushing a snowball. You're taking a snowball, you're rolling it in the snow, what happens to it? It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You're accumulating more and more snow. As you're rolling it along in the snow, you're accumulating it. Take it and roll it across the lawn, roll it down the pavement. What's going to happen to it? It's going to disappear on you. That's a really good analogy, a real good example of what I'm talking about. It's chilly out here. So that is what I do to earn an income, but it's all about managing it. You can make all the money in the world, but if you don't know how to manage it, you're not going to hold on to it. So I run my life like a business. Well, I will explain a little bit further, but I'm going back in the house. So what do I mean by running my life like a business? Well, first and foremost, I'm very adamant about keeping my expenses far below my income. I always want to have a substantial buffer set aside to cover those unforeseen expenses. If something needs to be repaired, I don't want to have to go and borrow money to fix it. Every time that I borrow money, I have to pay back more than I borrowed, and I just don't want to do that. Expenses like that are always cutting into my bottom line, and I want to try to avoid them. Having that buffer set aside not only gives me great peace of mind, but it grows continuously, a little at a time, each month with interest. It's just a simple but logical business tactic that if people applied it to their daily lives, it could be a real game changer for them. Now, you're always hearing me talk about working towards what I want, baby stepping towards my dreams. So I'm going to tell you a little story of how this all got started and what brought me to where I am today. Keep in mind the snowball effect. What I have today is accumulated wealth. I started out by chasing a dream, and then I made my dreams work for me, which I will try to explain. When I was a kid, I dreamed about living in a cabin in the woods. Then when I was in my teens, I got the opportunity to buy a little less than 2 acres of land. I took out a mortgage and I made 65 payments on that property. I started building a cabin a little bit at a time. I didn't borrow any money whatsoever to build a cabin. I used a lot of recycled lumber and stuff like that. But when I was 21 years old, I moved into that cabin and I fulfilled my dream, and I was now living in my own home. By the time I was 25, everything was paid for. I was rent-free, debt-free. So when I was 25 years old, there I was, and my cabin was all paid for and all that, and things were good. But I still had a boatload of dreams to fulfill, and one was to go to the Yukon and Alaska and British Columbia and places like that. So I ended up selling the cabin and traveling, and I took just a fraction of that money to travel with. I put the rest in the bank. I kicked around the Northwest for about 6 months or so, and then I came back to New Hampshire and I bought 4 3/4 acres of land. Then I got a job with a log home outfit, and I always wanted to build a log cabin, so now I was being paid to learn how to build a log cabin. I learned a lot of valuable carpentry skills, and I built myself a nice house. I lived there for 13 years, and through that 13 years I didn't stop dreaming, and one of my pipe dreams from when I was a kid was to own 100 acres of land. So that's what brought me up here. I couldn't afford 100 acres of land in New Hampshire. I came up to New York, 300 miles outside my comfort zone, but I wanted to fulfill that dream. And with that 4 3/4 acres of land, I bought a lot of land with that money. So as you can see, my life has been a steady forward progression of dream fulfillment. By conquering one dream, it would create a jumping off place for the next dream. By conquering that one, it would help fund the next dream. And I would leapfrog from dream to dream, and I have for over 30 years. What enabled me to conquer my dreams wasn't that I made a lot of money. It's because I managed the money that I had. I was always working in the direction of what I want and investing it in myself. Not just spending it on myself, I was investing it. Even when it came down to looking for employment, I didn't just find a job that would offer me an income, but it would offer me the skills that I needed for the future, for the life that I wanted to live. Well, I hope that answers all the questions that you have, because I get asked all the time how I earn a living and how I got to where I am today. Contrary to common belief and all the assumptions made, I never made a lot of money in one single investment. It's been an accumulation over time. If you want a big snowball, you got to keep rolling it in the right direction. Because that, my friends, that's just good backwoods logic.